Do you remember if you canceled out the x's, the y's, or the z's, or did you do substitution? You canceled the x's, okay? So you did elimination and you canceled out the x's. Which ones did you use first? So you multiplied the top one by 2 to cancel out the middle? Okay, so if I multiply the top by 2, I get 2x minus 6y plus 4z equals 28, right? And then I'm going to rewrite my middle equation. 2x plus 8y minus 4z equals negative 30. Ooh, yeah, it does, doesn't it? Because when I go to cancel the x's, look what else happens. That's 0, isn't it? This is 2y. Ooh, that's also 0, isn't it? Equals negative 2. So if I divide both sides by 2, what do I get? Y equals negative 1. Okay. Then what? What'd you do then? Do you remember? So you decided to do it again, right? You multiplied the top equation by a negative 4, okay, negative 4. To do it again, to give yourself another equation with y and z, because you already knew y, so if you have an equation with y and z, you can substitute it in your y. Good thinking. So if I multiply the top equation by 4, I get, negative 4, right? Negative 4x plus 12y minus 8z equals 4 times 14, 56, negative 56. And then you added it to the bottom equation, so 4x plus 3y plus 3z equals 21. So when I combine those two equations, I get a 0, and I get 15y, and I get negative 5z equals negative 35, right? Okay. Now, wait, what'd you do now? Okay, plug y in. So we took this value for y and put it in right there, right? So 15 times negative 1 minus 5z equals negative 35. What is 15 times 1? Negative 15 minus 5z equals negative 35. So we add 15 to both sides. Negative 5z equals negative 20. Z equals 4. Where? Where do you want to plug it all in? Why would you choose the first equation and not the second one or the third one? It's just simple. X is already by itself, right? So if I'm going to plug everything into that first equation up here, x minus 3 times negative 1 plus 2 times 4 equals 14, right? X plus 3 plus 8 equals 14. What is 3 plus 8? So x plus 11 equals 14. Subtracting 11, x equals 3. 3, negative 1, 4. Is that right? Check it. Okay. 3 plus 3 is 6 plus 8. Is that 14? Okay. Negative 6 minus 8 is negative 14. Minus 16. Is that negative 30? Okay. 4 times 3. 12 minus 3 is 9. Plus 12. 21. This is correct, and I've checked my answer. Okay? Now, since we started doing this on Monday, What I and Mr. Johnson have heard a lot is whining. This takes so much paper, so long to do, so much time. It's hard. And I finally had somebody say to me yesterday, I wish there was an easier way. There is. There is a way in the calculator. But I made this promise to you at the beginning of the year, and I'm going to make it to you again. I promise I will teach you everything I know how to do in the calculator after you understand the math. I promise I will teach you everything I know how to do in the calculator after you understand the math. We went through this problem right here pretty quickly, not because it's an easy problem, because it's a relatively like middle of the road kind of problem, but because you guys are finally understanding what we're doing. Most of you. Okay? Now that I feel more comfortable with you knowing how to do these problems, now and only now will I show you how to do it in the calculator. Do you understand? Okay. Pause. All right. It's time for me to show you how to put this stuff in the calculator. But before we put stuff in the calculator, we've got to look back at the original problem. Okay? And I'm going to be very clear with you guys on what I expect to see on your homework. Because you know how I feel about you showing your work. You gotta, right? At least some of it so I can make sure you understand that you know what you're doing. So on your homework, if we're doing this problem right here, what I expect to see from you is the original problem written. And for the record, I'm going to show you 3 different ways that I know of to do these in the calculator. Please understand, these are not the only 3 ways. But 3 is really all we have time for today. Okay? So you're going to write the original problem, making sure you copy it correctly, making sure you get all your signs correctly. Doesn't ever hurt to go back and check as you're writing it to make sure that everything you wrote is correct. Because if you try to put it in the calculator that's incorrect, it's going to tell you the wrong answer. Okay? So we're going to pretend this is problem number 1. Okay? This is what we need to write. The first way that I'm going to show you how to do in the calculator. Just look at it. The first way I'm going to show you how to do it in the calculator, you have to be able to see the coefficients of this problem. Just the coefficients. So after we write the problem, we're going to write the coefficient matrix. A matrix is just a rectangular array of numbers. It doesn't have anything to do with the movies. Okay? Just the coefficients of this problem. What's the coefficient on this x? 1. What's the coefficient here? -3. What's the coefficient here? 2. Coefficient here? 14. -2, 8, -4, -30. 4, 3, 3, 21. Megan, can I have yours, please? Hers is broken. I'll have to fix it. I can fix it. I can't do it right this second. Okay? Now, when you start your calculator, you're always going to start a new document. So give me a new document. No, I do not want to save the old one. And today we're going to start a new calculator document. So that very first one, a new calculator document. Okay? Let me zoom in a little bit. So here's the keystrokes that you need. Menu. Look at number 7. Matrix. Look at number 5. Reduced row echelon form. When I choose number 5, what shows up on my calculator says RREF. What do you think that would stand for? Reduced row echelon form, right? Now, if all you choose is the, hold on, let me go back and show you. If all you do is choose number 4, row echelon form, it's not going to look right. It's not going to help us right now. Okay? So we don't want to choose that. We want to choose reduced row echelon form. Notice where my cursor is. Where is it? In the parentheses. Okay? So from here, I want to choose menu. I want to choose matrix. But this time, I want to create a matrix. Create a what? A matrix. Now, look back at the matrix that I want to put in the calculator. How many rows does it have? 3 rows. Here's one. Here's the second one. Here's the third one. Do you see that? 3 rows. So I'm going to delete that 2 and put a 3, and then I'm going to hit the tab button to get me to the next one. If I use my up and down arrows, that changes the numbers in those boxes. You're going to want to be nice and good friends with the tab button. Okay? How many columns does this matrix have? 1, 2, 3, 4 columns. So delete the 2 and put a 4, and let's tab to the OK. Now, a really quick and easy way to know if you made it the right size is to look at it. Does it look the same as the one I have already written? Yes. Now enter your numbers. 1, tab. -3, tab. 2, tab. You get what I'm trying to tell you to do? Use the tab, don't use the arrow keys, okay? Because look what happens now. I just hit 14, and when I hit tab, where does it take me? To the next row. I don't even have to arrow a lot. Okay? Four, 3, 3, and 21. Now, before you hit anything, after you get all your numbers entered, before you hit anything, it's a really good idea to go back and check what you entered is exactly what you meant to enter. Sometimes you don't push the negative key all the way down. Sometimes you press a number and it doesn't go, or you hit another number by accident. Okay? Just check it. Now, watch what happens when I press enter. Boom. So this is my coefficient matrix right here. Then I have, oh yeah, I forgot my bars. Okay. Then I have my answer matrix. 1, 0, 0, 3, 0, 1, 0, negative 1, 0, 0, 1, 4. That's my answer matrix, right? Now, a lot of people make the mistake of saying, oh, this is always where my answer is. I have to tell you guys, that's not always where your answer is. If you have a diagonal of 1s right here, then that is your answer. Let me say that again. If you have a diagonal of 1s right here, then that is your answer. Like 3, negative 1, and 4. If for some reason there's not a diagonal of 1s right there, chances are you have no solution or infinitely many solutions. Or you just did something screwy when you put it in. Okay? But chances are it's because it's no solution or infinitely many solutions. Okay? So, how do you like this work compared to this work? It's easier, right? It's faster. Okay? Now, you still have to tell the calculator to do the right thing. Or it will still do the wrong thing, still give you the wrong answer. Okay? So that's one way. And that's the reduced row echelon form, right? We've got to put our REF in there. That's reduced row echelon form. Okay? There's another way that I want to show you. We're going to do the same problem. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite it for you, because I'm trying to model for you what I want you to see, or what I want to see in your homework. 4x plus 3y plus 3z equals 21. All right, this way is called inverse matrices, or inverse matrix. We're using an inverse matrix. Okay? Watch what the matrices look like this time when I enter them. 1, negative 3, 2, negative 2, 8, and negative 4, 4, 3, and 3. The end. Then I have one that looks like x, y, z. And then I have an equal sign. And then I have one that looks like 14, negative 30, and 21. So this time I actually have 3 different matrices, don't I? Okay? Think about for a moment if this whole matrix was just a number, like a 2. And if this whole matrix was just a variable, like an x. And this whole matrix was just a number, like 6. How would I solve this equation? I'd divide both sides by 2, right? Guys, we can't divide matrices one to another side. We can't do that. Matrices don't allow that. What's the same as dividing by 2? Multiplying by 1/2. This is the inverse operation of what you were trying to do in the first place. That's what we can do with matrices. Okay? So notice how this is the number, like the 2, that we're going to have to do the inverse to, right? Do you remember what the inverse looks like in your calculator? Can I remind you? Okay? For argument's sake, for shortcut's sake, I'm going to call this matrix A. Okay? Just for our conversation purposes. When we put this in our calculator, we're going to have to put A to the negative 1 power. That's the inverse. And then, what did I do with that 1/2 over here? What did I multiply it by? This matrix right here, right? We're going to go ahead and call that, for conversation, we're going to call that matrix B. So what I have to do in my calculator when I do this problem, so I'm going to have to start menu, matrix, menu, matrix, and then create. I just go straight to create. I don't choose RREF this time. I just create. I create a matrix. Guys, what size is this first matrix? The matrix A I was talking about, what size is that? It's a 3 by 3. So I go in and put 1 tab, negative 3 tab, 2 tab, and so on. Then I right arrow so that I'm outside of the matrix. What did I tell you had to do with that matrix A? Yeah, raise it to the -1 power. How do I do that on my calculator? I use this button, the caret button or the housetop button or the power button. I raise it to the -1 power. But then you have to remember this. You have to right arrow to get out of that. Then what do I need? B. I need my other matrix. Menu, matrix, create a matrix. What size is matrix B? 3 by 1, right? 3 rows, 1 column. 3 by, 1. 14, -30, and 21. Everybody watch what happens when I press enter. Why do people like this way as opposed to the first way I showed you? It's way easier to see the answer, isn't it? Okay. Why do people like the first way I showed you? It's easier to enter. Usually faster to enter. Okay. One more way. Ready to see one more way? Menu. Algebra. Look at number 2. Solve a system of linear equations. How many equations do we have? We have 3 equations. Watch what happens when I press tab. What did it do to the variables? It added a z, right? We don't have to even take care of that. It adds it for us. When I press enter, look what comes up. Lin solve, a linear system that it's going to solve for us. So in that first box, notice that there's only 3 boxes. Guys, what I have to type in that first box is that whole first equation. I'm not going to do it for time purposes, but understand, I don't even remember which one I used earlier. It doesn't matter. When you type all these in, it'll give you an answer that looks like this, except it will be horizontal. It will look like 3, 1, or 3, -1, 4. Okay? So people like that way because the answer is in the exact same format that you have to write it as your answer on your paper. But what do you think people don't like about this one? It takes a long time to put it in because you have to put every single one of these equations, even the equal sign. Okay? If you're gonna use an equal sign, you got to press the equal sign. It's right here. You see it? Okay? Any questions about these? Did anybody do it? Did anybody put that one in? They're doing it right now? Okay. But like I said, it does take a while to type that all in. And think about how many ways there is to make mistakes. So you got to be super, super careful, don't you? I'm not saying there's not ways to make mistakes with reduced row echelon form and inverse matrices, but it's just another way to make mistakes. We want to have as little chances as possible. But those are all 3 acceptable ways to do this problem. Okay? You guys almost done? Let me see it. Let me see it. Okay. Good job. So if you put it in this way with the Lin solve, it looks like this, and there's the answer. Do you see? So there's 3 different ways. There's the reduced row echelon form way, there's an inverse matrix way, and then there's using the algebra part of the calculator and letting it solve for you that way. Okay? What am I going to expect to see if you do the algebra way? You got to have the problem and you got to write the answer. There's really no work to show because the calculator's doing everything. Everything. Okay? So do you guys see the pros and cons of each way that I showed you today? Yes? So it's really up to you to choose. You got to figure out which way you like the best and then use that way. Okay? I mean, I'll tell you which way I like best. Mr. Johnson will tell you which way he likes best. If you want to know, I'm not going to tell you one way or the other. I want you to figure out something you find that works for you. Okay? There's 3 ways. Any questions? All right, you have the rest of the period to work on your homework. Peace.